I've made it. The time in the kitchen is over, and I report to the captain in order to get back to the combat troops. I'm doing pretty good. Back at home, all are healthy and well. That already is worth a lot. I'm hoping that I'll be able to receive a few days of leave, although that always depends on the company commander and on what the Russian is up to. The overall situation I have not completely deciphered. Fritz had still snapped up a few bits of information during our tours, and those don't sound good. We've arrived back in the vicinity of Kharkiv, and the companies and platoons are again involved in heavy defensive fighting. So it does not seem to be going forward. After we were able to put the Russian in his place at the Mirs, here it's now starting anew. The city is apparently the linchpin at the Eastern Front. The supply unit has moved in so far, therefore I go over to the staff unit. In front of the door to the makeshift office of the captain, I'm intercepted by a young lieutenant. He calls me with a "non-commissioned officer Peterson" to me, in a loud tone, as if at the barracks yard over to him. Alright, I'm on probation, and I'm gonna put on a friendly face, even if this greenhorn doesn't deserve it. In proper manner, I report to him. Apparently, he knows me, but I have no clue who he is. In any case, he explains to me that the captain is considering me as at-will material, and for me, it's going wherever one's needed. So no crew, but just a substitute. I almost don't care. Most importantly, get away from peeling potatoes. Although the supply runs with Fritz were really great. After I've received my instructions from Lieutenant Fersen, that's the man's name, it's going to the tank. The crew is on site. Familiar faces welcome me. Oh well, it's somewhat like coming back home. I talk to the comrades, a few stories are exchanged, and I climb into the tank. One's gotta have some luck. A Panzer IV long barrel. But this crate has been through quite a lot. Heidemarie is written on the side. Also nice. I once knew a Heidemarie at school, but we always called her Heidi. So Heidi it will be. I slide down onto the gunner's seat, turn to the left and open the viewport. Then the view slot in the manlet. Look through the optic and like on their own rest my hands on the adjustment wheels of the turret controls. That feels good. All like it used to be, and somehow I already have an itch. Now it could get going again. The loader Friedel comes climbing in. We already know each other from various missions. We chat a little bit, and then he tells me the truth. The lieutenant was a daredevil. The crew was of the opinion that he was at fault for the death of the gunner. He points out the spot in the turret where the anti-tank rifle round had penetrated. The gunner received the entire blessing and was dead on the spot. It had been known that these bastards with the long rifles existed here. No one had advanced further, but Lieutenant Fersen had been eager to go and at them. Well, nevertheless, when it happens, it happens. Then I hear my name and stick the head out of the turret. The captain and company commander are standing by the tank. He gives me a snappy guideline too. Just keep your mouth shut and shoot down a few Russians. I don't want to hear a thing about you until the war has been won. Do we understand each other? I jump, standing in the turret, to attention and fire back, "Yes, sir, Captain," and can hardly wait. A fleeting smile appears around the mouth of the tough-looking captain. I know I'm on probation. I shouldn't mess that up. Tomorrow it's going to start. An assault wedge against the Russian penetration near Bogatsy. We work hard and get everything ready so we will be able to advance to the staging area right at 4 a.m. Then a truck stops by the tank. Fritz jumps out and is bringing a small box. Marching rations, he remarks with a grin. Cheese, cigarettes, and wine. Very nice. Since I know Fritz pretty well by now, I also know that he's looking for a favor in return. He needs 2 Russian machine pistols. We can manage that. I said that I'll be in touch when I get them. The commander stops by and sees the box. He also wants to know right away what's going on here. I take one of the 2 bottles out and hand it over to the lieutenant. Well, that's something for a change, he says, delighted. He looks at me for a while, and of course, he knows what's going on here. What do the wheelers and dealers here want? He then asks. Honest as I am, I declare what's needed. Good, he remarks to me. No acts of heroism for these things. If you find some, they go in the tank trunk. Well, now look here. I wouldn't have guessed that. The stiff lieutenant isn't averse. I've already seen that here and there. Weapons? Yes. Looting of hostile soldiers? Not permitted. As such understood, that also would have been my marching orders. The evening continued without incidents. We only hear constant engine noises from the main road of commute. There's really a lot going on. Good thing, we are still in 2nd tier and still have half the night for some rest. At 3 a.m. we are rushed awake. After some lukewarm coffee and a few cookies, it's going at Heidi. The commander returns from the situational meeting and does not look excited. The situation has changed. The opponent is pushing hard towards the city. Artillery and planes everywhere. The Russians are slipping through the thin defense lines and are lurking behind every bush. But now we are off. We are rolling again and are on the way to a staging area straight to the northeast of Kharkiv. En route there are already increased aerial sightings, but also aerial coverage by our own machines. We make good progress, but do have to wait on and off because other units need to move past us in order to move into their attack sectors. We have infantry and anti-aircraft units along, so we are, in case we are cut off or get bypassed, not entirely defenseless. We follow a rail line. Toward 10 a.m. comes the order to halt. Some distance away, we can make out columns of smoke. Something is already going on there. We receive a new marching direction and link up with a tank of an SS division, which probably has the same destination. We are keeping in the flank of the tank formation and rush completely into an artillery barrage. The earth is trembling. We are shaken through and through considerably. Rocks, dirt and shrapnel are hitting against the turret. Wasn't so bad with the supply unit after all. Well then. But now, first closing in on Ivan. Suddenly, a dull thud. And after a few meters, the tank stands still. Track, yells the driver. Oh great. Therefore, wait, send out a report, and when the artillery fire subsides, reattach the track or see what exactly happened. After 20 minutes, the shelling lets up, so we're risking a glance out of the tank. All around us, many craters. One anti-tank gun on half-track got busted, and one armored personnel carrier is burning. The crew has sought shelter in a crater. We climb out and with trained hands attempt to repair the track. That's steady work, but if you know how it works, it will be done in an hour. The commander calls me up to the turret, hands me the binoculars, and points to the northeast. Columns of smoke on the horizon, and battle noise. Well, they're cleaning up well already, and we are sitting here like idiots. The radio operator comes up and is reporting heavy tank attacks on the spearhead and the flank. The assault wedge was performing a fighting retreat. Well, that's big. Now quickly attaching the track. It's possible we have to get out of here soon. Not even 20 minutes later, the track is back on and we want to move on. When a few vehicles come back at us like the devil, an armored personal carrier stops next to us. A short briefing. We are to cover the retreat. A few tanks were still coming. The armored personal carrier still takes on some infantry soldiers, since the crew of the half-tech is still with us. We get combat ready and place ourselves in a good position from which we can take the enemy tanks under fire. There comes our people limping back. A few vehicles are missing. One of the Panthers takes position 100 meters next to us, and together with us wants to cover the units streaming back. The commanders determine the field of fire. We are waiting. Damaged tanks and armored personal carriers come past us. One can see wounded on top of the vehicles and sod-blackened faces. Now button down the hatches. Ivan is coming. We see the first Russian tank at the distance of 2,000 meters heading towards us. The Panther fires. I'm still waiting. Open fire at 1,400 meters, comes the order. That's how it's done. Armor-piercing shell in the barrel, breech closed. I'm heading on the optic, and the excitement is like blown away. I have the impression everything is slowing down. I'm aimed in, on the Russian tank. The command to fire is issued. I push the firing mechanism. Missed. Damn it. A bit lower and further left, states the lieutenant. Okay, so the precision isn't so good. I readjust. And after the second shot, the enemy tank stands still. More and more Russian tanks and armored vehicles appear. The Panther is shooting fast and precisely. It's already knocked out 3 Russians. I have to step it up there, but it's not working out so well. Yet. Another T-34 I shoot, immobilized. Then they are turning away for now. The attempts to hit us all failed to the distance. It could also be that the crews are still inexperienced. We disengage, the Panther drives off and we follow. An additional 2 men from the anti-aircraft defense are sitting with us inside the tank. They have to be taken along somehow. We drive about 10 kilometers and then stop again. For another 30 minutes we provide security, but the Russian is no longer coming. It's going further back, and in the late afternoon we pass an anti-tank gun emplacement, which is in a blocking position. We report to the battery commander what happened and that no one's behind us at this time. 2 kilometers further we stop anew, since we encounter others from our company. We've lost 2 tanks, the SS troops 4 vehicles. They drove head-on into an anti-tank gun emplacement and then suffered a flanking attack by the Russians. There'll be a considerable slap on their head for this. Poorly scouted or simply relying on the striking force of the armored spearhead. So, for me, only 1 kill. I really have to sight in this gun. I hope we make it to the repair shop again. Lieutenant Fersen is quite satisfied. More could simply have not been achieved. We also load some ammunition and fuel. The field kitchen has some hearty food for us. And now we are waiting for what the next day might bring. I'm once again where I want to be. About sense or nonsense, I don't want to think at the moment. Now it primarily counts to be there for the comrades. Their lives somehow depends on me as well, and I don't want to disappoint anyone.